Communities in North Queensland are bracing for damaging winds and storm surges as Tropical Cyclone Jasper approaches. Cyclone Jasper is forecast to make landfall near the city of Cairns.
Evacuation centres are being set up and nearly 100 additional QFES staff and volunteers have been deployed to bolster local crews. Reporter Christy Sexton-McGrath has the latest from Cairns. Christy, what's the weather situation like there at the moment?
Well, good morning, Emma. I'm here at the Cairns Marina and it's certainly a very eerie sight. Behind me, normally there's hundreds of boats moored. They've all been moved into a nearby inlet. We're told that there's around 800 that have been moored in a nearby creek, and that's in order to stop them from rubbing up against one another when these big waves start. That is expected a little bit later on this afternoon. In terms of the weather here, we've had a light drizzling of rain. The skies behind me are looking a little bit ominous. There's the occasional gust of wind, but certainly nothing significant at the moment. Now, Cyclone Jasper is expected to cross the coast as a Category 2 system north of Cairns, potentially around Port Douglas tomorrow at around noon. Here's what the Bureau of Meteorology had to say a little bit earlier today.
We now also have the mention of destructive winds on our tropical cyclone bulletin, and those destructive winds could develop between Wudjil and Innisfail from tomorrow morning as that cyclone core nears the coast.
Yes, and as you just heard there, a lot of far north Queensland is expected to receive a lot of rain. Cairns itself is expected to receive around half a metre of rain over the next couple of days, and unfortunately that is going to coincide with king tides that are happening all of this week. The Cairns District Disaster Group is warning people in the red storm surge zone. Now that includes homes and hotels along the Cairns Esplanade to have a plan to go somewhere else. Authorities are very concerned about a possible storm surge, and that sees coastal water rise high above the high tide levels and can push large amounts of water inland. Now, evacuation centres have been set up across far north Queensland. Authorities say that they have been preparing for this cyclone for months now. As you mentioned earlier, dozens more SES crews are being flown into far north Queensland from southeast Queensland. In terms of how are residents feeling, it really depends on who you talk to. There are a lot of long-term locals here who seem to be taking it all in their stride, but there are others who are new to the area. There are international tourists. A lot of people moved up here post-COVID as well, and they're understandably a little bit worried. Residents across Cairns were sent a text message yesterday warning them and asking them to prepare to be isolated. We've seen some supermarket shelves that have emptied quite quickly, people stocking up on bottled water and tinned food. The local IGA told us yesterday that generally shoppers have been well behaved, but they are still urging people to only buy what they need for the next couple of days. The Cairns airport is still operating. We've had a couple of planes fly overhead this morning, but there is going to be a meeting this morning to determine when and if that airport will close. James Cook University's campus has also closed, and the Cairns Hospital has now postponed all elective surgeries.
Christy, obviously a really busy time for emergency services, but also for the Bureau, and it's evacuated its Willis Island station.
Yeah, that's right, Emma. Willis Island is a tiny little island about 450 kilometres off the coast of Cairns in the Coral Sea. There's a Bureau of Meteorology office there. It's considered one of the most remote in the world, and normally 4 Bureau of Meteorology forecasters live on that island. Now, the Australian Defence Force managed to evacuate them earlier this week. An Australian Navy a destroyer was returning from a deployment and was diverted to the island in order to pick up those staff members. Emma, look, the authorities are asking residents to continue to keep an eye on those Bureau of Meteorology warnings. There's also a lot of information about what to do in order to prepare for a cyclone, what to do during the cyclone and what should happen afterwards. Plenty of information available on the Queensland Government website. local disaster management group websites and, of course, on the ABC emergency website.